So I know that I read the whole chapter, and I'm sorry, but if you can go back to verse 15, 17, we're going to read that a little slower because I believe that is very powerful for the original readers and for us as well. So that's what verse 15 says. So this is King Nebuchadnezzar speaking after some traders, Chaldeans, take the three Jews and say, hey, those guys are not worshiping the statue. They should, like you have to talk to them. Another thing that I'm digressing, but something that I think is very interesting in the text is that when we see pictures of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like kind of like those, and we see like everyone like bowing down, and the three are like just standing. I don't know. I see that in the text, but I also see that some people, how do they spot them? It doesn't feel like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were like hiding. I just think like, I wonder the conversations they were having when, I don't know, like when people are bowing down, they're talking to each other. Yeah, so did you see like yesterday game? Crazy, right? And everyone's like, hey, I wonder if they're like other Jews. They're kind of like poking them like, hey, dude, bow down. They're like, no, chill, we're good. I just think it's interesting. Like, how were they? Like, okay, sorry. Verse 15. Now, if you're ready, when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, drum, and every kind of music, fall down and worship the statue I made. But if you don't worship it, you will immediately be thrown into a furnace of blazing fire. And who is the God who can rescue you from my power? So, the king is saying, hey, if you bow down, this will happen to you. If you don't bow down, that'll happen to you. So there's kind of like an if not pattern. So, verse 16. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, Nebuchadnezzar, we don't need to give you an answer to this question. If the God we serve exists, then he can rescue us from the furnace of blazing fire, and he can rescue us from the power of you, king. But even if he does not rescue us, we want you as king to know that we will not serve your gods or worship the gold statue you set up. So, I never noticed that. But it is as if, again, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are like not like fighting their own game, because Nebuchadnezzar says something, hey, if you do that, that's going to happen to you. If you not do that, that's going to happen to you. And Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, I'm repeating their names a lot today, sorry. I'll probably the Jews. They play their own game. They're like, hey, if the God we want, if the God we serve saves you, he can. But if not, we won't bow down. So it is as if it is like contrasting the if and if not. Because while King Nebuchadnezzar's if and if not is a cause effect that focuses on the fate of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Jews' answer is a faith-based statement that focuses on the power, sovereignty, and character of Yahweh. While Nebuchadnezzar is trying to focus on, hey, that's going to happen to you, like you're kind of like the focus of the thing, they're like, dude, no. The focus of everything is Yahweh. Like, it doesn't change who he is. You know? Like, okay, yeah. Some people would interpret the passage as saying that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego doubted that God was able to deliver them from the power. I personally disagree with that. I think they were unsure. I do believe they were unsure they would live. But the if not doesn't have to do with the ability or ableness of God. It has to do with God chosen, if God chooses or if God doesn't choose. Like, if God does something, does it change how powerful it is? If God doesn't do something, does it change that he is actually like the creator and maker of the universe? Does it change anything? And I think this is crazy. And this assurance of these three bold men is overwhelming for our lives nowadays. And I think that, and again, I think this is a passage that applies for us today because we're about to enter a new year. And brothers and sisters, if we're not assured of the God we serve, if we don't if we don't have the same like faith-based statement that like if nothing works out, it doesn't change who God is. We can come up with the best New Year's resolution. The foundation is not there. Those men knew the God they served. They knew that the consequences imposed upon them did not change the power of the God they served.